Hey everybody, welcome to episode number 10 of the Big 10 Challenge. So glad you could join us today. We call this story The Waterfall. So can I tell you a Junior Bear story? You see, one morning Junior Bear woke up to the sound of his dad knocking on his door. Hey Junior Bear, can I come in? Well, sure Dad, Junior said, come on in. Mr. Bear came in and he sat on the end of his bed. He said, Junior, I've got an idea for today. And Junior sat up and he said, well, what's that, Dad? And Mr. Bear looked at him and he said, well, I want to take you to a place you've never been before. Well, where's that? Junior wondered. His dad said, how about I take you to the waterfall? And Junior said, really, the waterfall? And Mr. Bear said, yeah, let's go. You want to go? And Junior said, yes, I want to go. You see, Junior had heard about the waterfall. He heard it was big and amazing and just beautiful, but he'd never seen it. So he really wanted to go. Well, he jumped out of bed and he got ready, and then he quickly ran down the stairs and he said, Dad, I got an idea. Can I invite some friends to come with? And Mr. Bear said, I was hoping you'd ask. So Junior ran out and he found his two best friends, Tommy Turtle and Kid Fox. He said, guys, my dad wants to take us to go see the waterfall. You want to come? And they said, the waterfall? Yeah, I want to come. So they went with Junior Bear and they met up with his dad. And Mr. Bear said, well, you ready? Let's go. And they started walking down the trail, and they loved walking with Mr. Bear because there's always stories, and they were laughing and learning so much. But other animals started hearing them talking, and they'd be like, hey, Junior Bear, where are you going? And he'd say, hey, we're going to the waterfall. Why don't you come with us? And some more animals joined them. And a little bit later on, Junior saw some other ones. He said, Dad, can I invite them? And Mr. Bear said, sure. And he said, guys, come with us. We're going to the waterfall. And they just joined, and soon there was a good number of animals following Mr. Bear on the trail, and they knew they were going to have a great time. Well, as they walked, then they came to a bit of a break in the trail, and there was a bit of a split. And Junior noticed that the trail going one way was really wide, and it was really nice and open, and they could see the trail very clearly, and it looked like there was nothing on the other side. Like the trail was covered with bushes, and there was no trail at all. Like it looked like it was full of thorns and all kinds of bad things. And all the other animals, they started walking to the one that was nice and open and clear and wide, and they would start walking that way. And so Junior, he just thought, well, we're going to the waterfall, we're all going to the same place. So he started following them too. And that's when he heard his father's voice. Junior Bear, where are you going? Mr. Bear asked. Well, Junior stopped and he looked at his dad. He said, well, Dad, I'm going to the waterfall. Mr. Bear said, well, that's not the way. And Junior, he looked at his dad and he said, well, they're going that way. And Mr. Bear said, that doesn't mean that's the way to go. And Junior, he kind of scratched his head a bit and he said, well, then where are they going? And Mr. Bear said, well, wherever they're going, they're not going to the waterfall. If you want to go see the waterfall, you've got to come this way. And Mr. Bear, he pointed at what looked like there wasn't a trail at all. He just pointed at the bush. And Junior said, but Dad, there's no trail there. And Mr. Bear, he just looked at his son. He said, Junior, do you trust me? And Junior, he thought for a little bit, but he knew he needed to trust his dad. And so he said, yeah, Dad, I trust you. So we got to go this way, Mr. Bear said. Okay, I'll trust you, Dad. But Mr. Bear said, I don't want you to come by yourself. Go get your friends. Go get them. Go tell them what we're doing. So Junior said, okay, I'll be right back. And he ran after the other animals and he said, guys, stop. My dad says that's not the trail that gets to the waterfall. And the animals stopped and turned around. They said, what are you talking about, Junior Bear? All these trails go to the waterfall. And Junior said, well, my dad said that this trail does not go to the waterfall. And they said, well, what are we supposed to do? Just walk into the bush and get poked by the branches and all that stuff? And Junior said, well, that's what my dad says we need to go. We need to go that way and find the waterfall there. And they were like, no way, Junior Bear. This is the better trail. We're going to take this trail. This is easier. And Junior said, but guys, my dad doesn't want us to go this way. He says we got to go that way. And then Junior, he saw Tommy Turtle and Kid Fox. He says, guys, can you trust my dad with me? Let's go with him. And they looked at each other, and then they looked at the other animals, and they said, well, you go where you want, but we're going this way. And Tommy Turtle said, well, I trust Mr. Bear. I'll go with you, Junior. And Kid Fox said, yeah, me too. And the other animals, they just said, well, you go. We're going to take the easy path. And so Junior couldn't convince them, and they all turned and went the other way. Well, Junior and Tommy and Kid Fox, they went back to Mr. Bear, and he said, I'm so proud of you guys for coming my way. Now follow me. And Mr. Bear, he started into the trail, and it hardly looked like a trail at all. And Junior followed behind, and his friends were behind him. And very soon, Junior realized how hard this trail was. They were getting poked by branches and thorns, and they were getting scrapes on them, and all he could hear was his friends complaining, and they said, why are we going this way? This way hurts so much. The other way was so much better. And he reminded them, guys, we got to follow my dad. He knows what he's doing. And they said, okay, we'll keep going. Well, then Junior, he took a bit of a scrape in the cheek, and he said, oh, Dad, that one hurt. That one hurt a lot. And he just kept following, and they didn't know if this trail would ever end. Like, it just wasn't easy at all. But after a while of this, they heard a rumbling noise. And Junior, his ears perked up, and he said, guys, I think we're getting closer. Let's keep going. Let's do this. And they kept going, and they get a few more scrapes and a few more cuts on their paws and their feet. And it wasn't fun at all. They were not having a good time, but they knew they were getting closer. And soon Junior stepped right out of the bush, and he could feel the mist of the water as this beautiful waterfall was right in front of him, and his friends came behind him, and they looked at it and said, wow, this is amazing. The rush of the water was so loud, and the mist was all over them, and then they looked at their hands and their paws and the scrapes, and they said, oh, that hurt a lot, but look at where we are now. We can not just see the water, we can feel it. And then Junior Bear stopped, and he had a thought, and he looked at his paws again. He said, well, if I got this scraped up, how much did my dad get scraped up? Because he went first. He went before me, and he made a trail for me to follow. And that's when he looked at his dad's paws, and he saw the wounds and the scrapes and the scars, and he looked at his face. He saw the scrapes of the trees right there, the thorns that put scrapes on him too. And he said, Dad, you're hurt. And Mr. Bear just smiled, and he says, but you're worth it. And Junior said, well, why would you do this? Why would you do this? And Mr. Bear said, because I want you guys to be with me at the waterfall, because it's amazing, and I want you to feel it and experience and be right here with me. And all Junior and his friends could do was say, thank you. Thank you that you went first, and you made a way for us to follow. But then Junior had another thought. He said, Dad, what about all the other animals, the ones that went down the other trail? Where are they? And Mr. Bear just took a deep breath, and he kind of sighed, and he said, I want you to look down the river. And they looked down the river, and he says, you see it way out there, there's a flat piece there, and you'll see them standing there. And Junior looked, and Tommy and Kid Fox, they looked too, and they kind of squinted, and yeah, I see them way over there, but that's really far away. Mr. Bear said, yeah, it is. You see, they think they're seeing the waterfall, but they're only seeing it from a far away distance. Because you followed me, you get to be here. You get to see it close up. You get to experience it and feel the mist on your face and hear the rush of the water. They'll never get to experience that. And that makes me sad. And Junior, he said, that makes me sad too. But I am glad I followed you, Dad. Mr. Bear just smiled. He said, I'm glad you did too. Well, they couldn't stay long, and it was coming down to the end of the day, and Junior said, oh, I wish we could stay here forever. And Mr. Bear said, well, maybe one day we can, but right now let's go home. And so they went home, and that night as Junior was getting tucked into bed, he looked up at his dad, and he said, Dad, can't wait to go back to the waterfall. Mr. Bear just smiled. He said, Junior, one day I'll be ready to take you back. And they gave each other a goodnight hug, and Junior went to bed knowing that even though it hurt and it was really hard, following his dad was the best thing he did that day. And that was a good thing. So why do I tell you Junior Bear stories? Because they tell us Bible stories, right? I want you to go into the description below and find the link to the Bible study page. And it's going to help you understand what the Bible wants to say about this Junior Bear story. And I want you to learn about Jesus and what he wants to do for us and with us and all kinds of things about him. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and don't forget to send the picture to Pastor Caleb of you doing this so that you can be done with the Big Ten Challenge with us. We want to celebrate with you, so send those pictures. I want to thank you for joining us on these Big Ten adventures, and I hope you learned a lot about Junior Bear, but more importantly, I hope you learned a lot about Jesus. Bye!